Today's guest is Garon Brett, a singer-songwriter based out of Utah. Garon has established himself as a key collaborator and artist to watch in his local scene. Welcome, Garon.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome.
you, brothers. What's up?
Hey, we're excited to have you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Dude, I'm stoked to be here. Stoked to meet you guys and just hang for a little bit. This feels good.
Yeah. Well, we love your songs, man. Like I told you before the show started, I was actually just listening to your Christmas song, Coco.
Dude,
Fantastic, man. The way the piano goes and the way you sing, it's really good, really good.
thank you so much. I that one it's so funny. You guys as musicians understand this. When you write something, you you don't always know like especially when you know something that matters to you, like how am I going to record this? How was it? It's just hard to approach something sometimes. And so I that one specifically I had written for a long time, and I just didn't know where to go, how to record it, how I wanted to materialize it, I guess. And so I ended up working with my good friend Gavin McMahon, and it was just he's a local producer and just came to life, and super grateful for him and where that one ended up. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So you said you wrote that song previously, and you've been hanging on to it for a little bit.
Yeah, I wrote that in, man, 2017.
Oh, nice.
Is that right? Something like that. Thanksgiving of 2017 after I came home. Yeah, I went home for Thanksgiving, came back. It was snowing. I was sitting in my living room. I remember it snowing and the window was open. And it was just like that, just a lot of memories and realizing that I wouldn't have uh, somebody that was special to me with me that Christmas or any other Christmases after that. And
Mm.
that was pretty rough. But but had to put that somewhere, So why not a song?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So that sounds like it's pretty personal then. That the song. I mean, I felt it when when you're singing the words and with the piano, the soft, melodic way that the piano is going. It's a very personal feeling song.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely has been a personal one on multiple accounts and multiple relationships. It's kind of funny how songs I think take shape because there will be about one thing in one moment, but then you have different life experiences, and then it just takes on a totally different meaning and how it applies to a different relationship. And that's how that one has been for me. And whether it was a breakup and with somebody or losing somebody, it was specifically my grandpa and my grandparents because he used to make cocoa and toast. That was our tradition, and that still holds up in our family, and so that's kind of where that one was built, and that tradition filtered into my relationship with this girl. And when both were gone, it was just kind of those memories are good, but that can be rough when you're not with somebody anymore. So,
Yeah. Well, sorry for your loss. That's
oh,
that's a good point though. And you said it perfect. Where's better to put it than in a song? So
yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for listening to it.
yeah. No, it's fantastic. Well, so you live in Provo right now, is that right?
I am in Provo right now. Yeah, I've kind of been
How,
around the valley, moved around the valley, but currently in the Provo area. So
did you grow up in Utah?
I didn't actually. I was raised in Dallas, Texas, and then moved up to Missouri. And so I've been kind of raised in both places, and then came out here for school, and have been out here since doing music.
That's fantastic. So did you play music in those other places as well?
Yeah, it's funny. You may have heard of a town called Branson, Missouri. Um, it's a super cool place. There's a lot of live shows there. And so I grew up performing with my family actually. And I was 9 when we moved there, and we started singing, and we were an a cappella group um, in Texas, kind of doing random gigs and stuff. My dad's a chiropractor, but we were doing music on the side for fun. But then we ended up going to Missouri and performing in Branson, and we performed there since I was 9, and my family still is doing that. I came out here to pursue solo stuff and school, But they're still doing stuff. And yeah, so I grew up, and then I was in a band with my brother and another guy named Aaron Ellsworth, and they're still going, and I help write a lot of music with them and for them still, even though I'm not in the band anymore. And so yeah, so that's kind of been a greenhouse, as it were, of music growing up with my family, and so I've been really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you have a musical family, and that's something that's, I think that that's important, for a lot of people's roots. I don't personally come from much of a musical family, but I've noticed with a lot of friends, I mean, that's an important thing. And since you were 9, you said you guys have been playing in a cappella groups and all that. That's fantastic. How would you say the scene compares, the music scene, from Branson to Provo?
Hmm. Great question. Very different. I'd say the music scene there, the original music scene is growing there. Um, the it's it was built on like live variety shows. It's kind of, I mean, a lot of people like to say it's like a family friendly type of Vegas type of environment. So there's, 100 shows any given day that you can go to. A lot of them are cover shows, and so they're doing, a lot of your favorite hits from different eras, or it just kind of depends on the show you go to. So it's a music industry built more on that kind of variety show, but the original music scene, it's kind of underground and it's building there as well. And there's some really amazing artists um, that have grown up in music there, and now are like, okay, I want to kind of express myself in an original way with my own music, and that's happening a lot more. So it was built on like the shoulders of Andy Williams, if you know these names, Andy Williams and Tony Orlando and Mel Tillis, and some artists of, I guess you could say, of the past, but just amazing artists really that started doing a residency there. And then they just lived there because it was better than touring for them. So that's kind of what Branson was built on. And um, I think I think Provo. So they're just different scenes for sure. And Provo, with, I mean, you've got obviously the bigger names that we know that have come out of here, the Imagine Dragons and Neon Trees, and um, other bands like that, Moth and the Flame, and stuff that Corey Fox down at Valor has had a major influence on the scene here. But there's just such a rich heritage of music in this area, and kind of what you said of families, I think, just teaching their kids to do music. Um, and then they just kind of blossom into these artists, and there's just it's so cool to be involved in a community here of incredible artists that I personally believe there's so many that are just like on the cusp of they could pop off any second and be international artists. It's so I view it as the local music scene, but I think there's a lot of people that are thinking like we're a part of this community as local musicians, but we're also part of this vast international industry that I think people like Imagine Dragons have maybe allowed our minds to go there and realize, oh wait, we could do that, or we can, you know what I mean? And so I
Yeah.
think it's Provo is in a cool spot, and um, I don't know if you know a guy named Sam Carden. He's a composer, done a lot of compositions and for years and years and years and years. But he recently was talking to me um, and said, "You guys are riding a really good wave right now in the local music scene," which I agree with. There's some artists, good friends, and other people that I don't know yet, but just incredible songs they're writing and producing, and stuff that you could hear anywhere, which is cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is really cool. Have you noticed, that it's easy to collaborate with artists here, I guess is the best way to
Hmm.
put it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. For me, um, it has been. Um, my only barrier to collaboration is usually my own brain and my own, like, I don't know, this feeling of isolation that you sometimes allow yourself to have, or like you're not good enough to work with somebody or whatever. But all those insecurities that we all have.
Yeah.
I think the barrier to collaboration for me has been myself. I think there's plenty of opportunity if you just reach out, and I've been so grateful. Like that's kind of how um, the new song that we released with Adam Turley, "La La La," came to be. Was he's started to do these writers retreats, these writers camps, and so last year in July, he got 11 guys, and we all just stayed in a cabin in the mountains in Colorado, and we wrote songs for a week. And
Wow.
that was one of the songs that came out of that. It was me, him, another local artist, Kason Renshaw, and another one, Michael Van Wagner. Um, the four of us, I remember Michael and Adam were down in the basement room, kind of working on this track, and Casey and I came in, and it just had this good feel to it, and we're like, dude, let's ride on this, and so we all did, and that was one of the most fun writing experiences that I've had, because it was so collaborative and just such a good flow, and it was just a few friends just getting together and making music, and so I feel blessed to because I think music anything really is about relationship. It's about really our relationships because in the end, music dies. Most everything that we love might die out or whatever. I don't know, but your relationships don't. And so, I think the beauty of collaboration is that it is about relationships and growing together as you're creating these songs. But it's more just the bond that you're building. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. And that's actually a good point. Would you say that that's one of your main motivating factors for doing music? I guess talk about why you do music.
Mm, yeah, man. Um, that's this morning I was writing in my journal actually and reading about this because I'm not immune to losing my focus sometimes on things that matter most, and so I was kind of reassessing that, I guess, and remembering the last couple of days, like, why am I doing this? Because because if my goal is to be the best or whatever, there's always going to be somebody better than me. There's always going to be somebody more successful. There's always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I tend to have to go back to like journal entries and things that I've marked as I call them like my anchor points or my anchor revelations really of things that I need to remember when I get, unfocused. And this is a long way of saying that, yeah, motivation really is people, really is that genuine connection with other human beings, whether it be me with band that I'm playing with, me with an audience. Um, and I, as I was reading this week, I remembered something that I'd written down a long time ago, and it was, you know, it's one thing to play a show and everybody think you're awesome. That's great, but it's kind of empty. What's fulfilling is when you play a show and everybody in the room feels we're awesome. Like everybody leaves feeling empowered, feels better, feels like they can go reach their dreams, whatever those might be, or that they, have value. So for me, music is about relationship, and it's about oh man, gathering people that will love it and listen to it,
Yeah.
and building a community around it, and connecting with people because we need each other, man, and we need. I know for me, music has been like there's Coldplay songs, there's Sting songs, there's Michael Jackson songs, and uh, I could, the list could go on forever of artists that have been able to say something that I needed to hear, or in a way that I didn't quite know how to express it, and then it like allowed me to experience what I was feeling, if that makes sense, because I didn't know
Yeah.
how to verbalize it or something, and so I've needed that, and if I can do that for other people in some small way, man, that's what a blessing. So that's kind of my motivation.
That's fantastic. I actually love what you said about the live thing. In particular,
Hmm.
I Absolutely. As an artist, you get that adrenaline before the shows. That
Mm.
it's always there. You're always excited, maybe a little nervous. Um, but the truly successful shows aren't about the people on the stage alone. It's about everybody. You got to be there on the stage, but the crowd has to be there too, and
Yeah.
they should be getting out just as much as you are of that. I
Yeah.
love that. I think that's fantastic. That's a great point.
Well,
Um,
it reminds me of when I saw Coldplay live a while back, and they're masters of that.
yeah,
Chris Martin, man, and just their whole shows, for me at least, they seem to be built and strategic around that community. Like the entire audience, whether it be because of these LED wristbands that they're all wearing or something, they're all involved. And
yeah,
it really is, it's a selfless type of performance. It's a selfless sharing rather than a hey, look at me type of experience, you know? And what's
yeah,
so crazy is it ends up making you look at him and them in a more positive light anyway. You know what I mean?
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
So interesting. So interesting.
yeah. No, I love that. I think you hit it right on the head. And you said also that part of the connection that you feel with music, they spoke to you in ways you didn't even conceptualize like that. You couldn't put those words together like that because words are limited, really. I mean,
Mm,
when you put words with music, that's I mean, you don't have a ceiling there. It's just what the creator
yeah.
of the song can deliver. So I think that's fantastic. Who would you say some of your icons were or are? You talked about
Um,
Chris Martin and Coldplay and
yeah.
Michael Jackson a bit.
Oh man. Yeah. It's kind of like my brother talks about it as being like your artistic ancestry or your artistic, family tree, as it were, and which is kind of cool. But there's actually this website, I can't remember what it is, but you can go and look up an artist and see what their influences were, and so you can kind of like actually create this pedigree chart of your artists, your favorite artists,
Wow.
and what their influences were, which is kind of cool. So definitely, yeah, Coldplay. Chris Martin has been big inspiration there. John Mayer, um, Michael Jackson, Earth, Wind and Fire. Grew up listening to them. Stevie Wonder, Temptations, Motown. A lot of those Motown artists, man. Um, as well as Nickel Creek, going to like the bluegrass type of area a little bit, and there's Brian McKnight was a big one as well. Um, I'm a big Casey Musgraves, especially her Golden Hour, her newest album. Um, Sarah Bareilles. I know I'm missing some people. You got people like D'Angelo. Um, just the pocket and the groove factor there is definitely inspiring. Guy named Kirk Franklin, him and
Yeah.
his choir, man, just his band is ridiculous. Like, it's just stank face all over the place.
Yeah.
So those are a few. I mean, there's a lot more. Oh, there's another group, actually that they're disbanded and doing like solo projects, but Third Story. Um, they they sing background and stuff for Chance the Rapper on his tours and stuff, and just killer vocalists and such cool songwriting style and stuff. And so yeah, those are a few. So I'm kind of
That's awesome.
across the board on
Yeah.
genre and stuff.
I was gonna say you have a spread there. You're which is great. That's fantastic. Makes for a well rounding. And you said Casey Musgraves. You have to one of somebody else we talked to in Nashville. He has a story about Casey Musgraves, and I don't want to take up your time with that, but
Oh,
you'll have
dude,
to see it. It's yeah.
actually,
Well,
it's
what?
this last we just did another writers camp with Adam Turley and a bunch of other guys, and we actually wrote a song called Casey. It's about her.
No
Oh
kidding.
man, yeah, dude. Casey
Oh,
Musgraves and Tori Kelly, two crushes that I have, man. Dude.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, yeah, you have to see what Jed says. It's
Okay.
it's pretty funny. It's yeah. They're
We'll
good
do it.
people. Just everybody's good people.
Yeah, that's
Um,
funny.
that's awesome. So what age did you start getting into songwriting then? You said you've been performing since you were like 9, but when did you
Yeah.
start writing?
So yeah, it's funny because I mentioned performing and singing with my family since I was 9, but it was just kind of what the family did. Like when you're a kid, you just grow up and you kind of follow in the footsteps of family, right? In a lot of ways. Um,
Yeah.
so we were performing and stuff, but I never realized because it was just kind of an extension of our family. I never realized that, oh, this is music. Oh, music. Oh, like what? And I didn't realize what we were doing or what I was doing, you know? And I was just playing basketball. That's what I really wanted to do. Um, my brother, he was going to play, or he played in college, and I was going to play in college and stuff. But then ended up, my senior year in high school, I wrote my first song for a girl. And that was it, man. And I started to be like, oh, wait, music. And I picked up, the guitar. I'm like, whoa, guitar. What? I've been around these things for so long, but it's like experiencing them for the first time, because
Yeah.
it became my own, I think, expression. It became like I started to own that, if that makes sense. And so I started to write that year. And then I have two really good friends that actually live in Nashville, and there are writers out there that were living in Branson as well. They were in a performing family there too. Doug Lowe and Kaylee Lowe, and they we started co-writing, which was a huge thing for me. I was like I feel that I'm indebted to them. We were such good friends, but like over the years, just that experience of co-writing with them has been proved so beneficial to me and allowed me to kind of learn the ropes of co-writing. And since that time frame, since really my senior year and after graduation, I started to write more. I tried to get into the music dance theater program and didn't make it, which looking back, I'm actually really grateful because it wasn't the right path for me. Um, and later would end up getting into a commercial music program, which is where I needed to be. But yeah, so senior year, started co-writing, started writing, and that's kind of where the journey began for me of really owning music and really owning my own music. So
That's awesome. Did you have a preferred instrument that you would write on, or that you
uh,
do currently write on?
yeah, it usually guitar or piano, both. I wouldn't say I'm like crazy proficient in either one, but there are definitely places that I'll go to and I started to recognize that whenever I passed a piano, I would always sit down. And, like I just kind of would sit down and something was kind of boiling up inside me that I had to get out. And so that's kind of where I started to go. The piano was first and then guitar kind of followed. Which because I love a lot of folk stuff, the James Taylors and there's a guy named Brad Wilk or David Wilcox,
Oh
David
yeah.
Wilcox that I grew up listening to, and so a lot of that just beautiful finger picking stuff was a big inspiration there. And John Mayer, obviously,
Yeah.
um,
It's great. Yeah.
the Tom Mishes and the Bruno Majors, those guys have been really inspiring on the guitar as well. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are some of your long-term goals with your music career?
Mm. Ooh, great question. It's so funny. I have funny relationship with goals because I've made so many of them, and then sometimes I feel like I'm living in the future too much, and so I like I'll create them, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm just gonna kind of leave those there and try my best to live here in the present, even though I don't always do the best at that. But um, I have multiple albums that I have written or am writing. Um, so goals there are to you know continue to finish those and produce. I love performing live, and whether that be full band or, solo acoustic type of stuff. So to write, record, release those albums, given whatever time frame that looks like, but then perform those albums and tour. Um, and I'm also really interested in a lot of sync licensing stuff as well,
Cool.
and doing music for film and TV. So yeah, so I'm solo artists. That, I guess, that route, as you could say. I've felt that I need to be mobile, and whatever that means. Because I mean, it's most musicians' dreams to travel the world performing, and
Yeah.
but I genuinely really would love that. I love going to new places, new cultures, and um, meeting new people, and if there are people that resonate with the music, then awesome. So my plan is just to go down that route. I also have actually a couple musicals that I want to write, which is a world that I've
Right.
never jumped into. So we'll see how that goes. But so those are a few goals, and um, just see where the Lord takes it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Musicals. I'm excited to hear them, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's kind of daunting to think about that. So I just need one song at a time. But
One song at a time. It's the only way anything gets done, you know.
I know,
No,
man.
that- that's awesome. So you mentioned you played live quite a bit, and I've actually seen on your Instagram page that you used to play live quite a bit. How has the pandemic affected? Um, I mean, obviously it threw a
Yeah.
wrench in everything, but how has that affected you in particular?
Yeah. I I I really miss it right now, and I've been doing with another friend I mentioned, Casey Renshaw, recently, or earlier, but he and I recently have been doing like kind of little house show type of things with really limited audience, just to, I think, because of that need for connection with people, whether that be a selfish one that I need it, but I also feel like there's a lot of people that do, and so we've been doing those, which has been good. Um, I did do a few like online performances. There's a local company called Social Antidote, and they
Mm.
have been putting on live virtual performances and stuff. And so I did one of those with them, and that was super fun. I remember last year I opened for another local band, Michael Barrow and the Tourists, um,
Nice.
and it was the night that everything shut down, and it was, yeah, March 13th, and it was at Velour here locally, and um, Corey Fox, I called him, and we were wondering if we were going to keep doing the show. He's like, yeah, yeah. We were unsure, because everything was so new and kind of not sure what to do. And so we did that show, but that was the last show there. And uh,
Wow.
I just miss it. I was actually looking through my phone a couple days ago and at, some live performances, as well as these little things that with other artists that my roommate and I put on, that are like jams, we call them. It's kind of a really informal open mic where you just have all these different artists come and play for each other. And I was watching some videos from that. I was like, oh my goodness, I miss this. It's I don't think I even recognized how much the pandemic has influenced, like, depression and and stuff in me,
Yeah.
that been really hard to just not be with people. I'm right down the line as far as introvert and extrovert, and so I need both. Um,
Yeah.
and it's been hard to not have that one side of things, especially performing. So I've been missing it. I'm excited to get back in it, and yeah, I'm hopefully be rehearsing with my band here to just soon, so we can just, whenever it kind of starts to open back up, we're just ready to go. So
Yeah. Which is hopefully soon. I think that I think again you hit it right on the head. I think all of us in some way or another have really been missing the arts, and we don't see it to its fullest. the toll it's taken on us. But I
Yeah.
think when it comes back and it's normal and it's not, a weird regulation system that you're in there, when it feels like you can be free type of thing,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be huge. We're big believers in the world needs the arts and the world needs intellect, but
Mm.
it needs them both. It's essential. So
Yep.
I think that's a great point, and that's great to hear your perspective on the pandemic here, and hopefully it does open up soon. We'd love to come see you.
Yeah, dude. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I
Yeah,
can do something.
absolutely, absolutely. So I like to ask all the artists this. What is advice you have? What's something maybe that you've gone through? You mentioned going through some earlier things
Yeah.
that in hindsight you liked, but what would be an example musically of something that you feel like was very important for you to go through, but you did not think it was a good thing at the time?
Oof. Oh man.
Sorry to drop that one on you.
No, that's a great question. And um I recognize that a lot of things that I say, whether it be advice or not, it's advice right back to me. So I'm not in any place to be like, you should do this because I understand everything and no, that is not my position at all. I am just a fellow journeyer in this kind of crazy existence that we're in, and a
Yeah,
beautiful existence. But um, I think a couple things come to mind. Um, it's so funny how myself and I think we as a society try to stay away from pain and just hard things in a lot of ways. Um, and it's kind of like this idea that, but we also want to have like the best and experience the best relationships and be the happiest we can be and be fulfilled and purpose driven and all these things, right? Which is great. Um, but I actually remember talking to a therapist about when you cut off like your feelings and those negative feelings and you cut off your grieving or your anger or whatever, those processes that you naturally need to go through, you actually are cutting off your ability to feel positive stuff too. It's like you become numb, right?
yeah,
And it's kind of like a tree. The roots, they got to go deep for the tree to grow higher. And the deeper those roots go, the higher the tree can grow. Um, but if you're like, no, I don't really want to go that deep, but I want the tree to be up there, it's like that
yeah,
just physics that doesn't quite work. And so
yeah,
I think for me, it's not like a wallowing at all, but it's allowing. It's allowing myself to experience what I experience fully. And if that is pain, allow myself to feel it, um, because that only allows for those roots to go deeper, for me, and so that the tree, my analogy, whatever, can can grow
yeah.
taller. And so how this relates to artistic work, I feel like Maxwell said it once. It took him like 9 years to release another album, and somebody asked him why it took so long, and he said, sometimes to write about life, you have to live it. And
Mm,
I think about that a lot, and how I have to allow myself to experience things. So I guess my advice, if I were to put it in the form of advice, would be to allow yourself to experience all of your experiences and your emotions as they come. Don't try to turn them off, um, because I think that's actually what makes for a beautiful, beautiful existence, and that's what creates the need. That whether that be a positive feeling or I don't even like maybe even saying positive or negative, a hard feeling, maybe, something that's difficult to handle. Um, both of those are really can be really beautiful experiences, and they cause, at least for me, they can sometimes help me reach out to other people and connect with people and learn from people and grow and write about that and create art that's about that. I mean, eh, the most meaningful art has come through some pretty rigorous struggle, you know, the stuff that has shaped
Mhm.
our world. A lot of it has come through a lot of hard things, and so I think, yeah, that was a long answer trying to formulate that, but yeah, a
No,
lot
that's great.
to feel.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I totally agree. I think that's great advice. I love several of the points you brought up there. It's fantastic. The Maxwell, his quote, that's absolutely true. If you want to write about something, then living it, you can kind of fake it, but
Yeah.
living it is beautiful in its own right as well. I mean, that's, and oftentimes more impactful for the others. We talk about the community, the people on the stage and off, that can really bring about healing
Mm,
and understanding from both perspectives. And I like that you brought up the tree thing, because balance.
mm.
People do need balance. Just because something is negative doesn't mean it's negative. Doesn't mean it's not
Yeah.
beneficial
Yeah.
through for something. So I love what you said. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been fantastic to have you on. So I want to talk briefly, real quick, about you have an upcoming single later this week, right, on Friday.
I do. Yes. Friday, dude. I'm so stoked about it. This one, it's called Glow, and it comes out Friday. I guess technically they kind of release it early on Thursday night, so 10 p.m. or my time, whatever that will be. 12 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern, or 12 a.m., whatever that is. Oh, yeah. So Friday, and this one has been in the pocket for quite a while, actually. And I'm just excited to finally to get it out there. And my cousin and I actually worked on it. He's a producer out in LA, and so we've worked on quite a few things together, and it's coming out. So you can find it anywhere you listen to music on Friday. So please do it. I'm super stoked about it.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. A producer out in LA. That's fun. And you guys just collaborate over the. How do you collaborate?
Yeah. I've spent, I'll go out there for a week and we'll just work on stuff, or we'll do stuff over, Zoom, or just back and forth through MP3s, and I'll record vocals and send them stems and or whatever instruments, and we'll just kind of go back and forth that way. It's always nice to when I can just go out there and be with them in real time. We can make
Yeah.
stuff, but it's super fun to work with him. Incredible musician, just killer producer, and so it's always fun to work with him, and especially being family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a fortunate collaboration there. That's really cool. Actually,
Yeah, it's been
that's fun.
awesome. Been awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, hey, we've loved having you, man. I would love to catch up again sometime and stay in touch for sure. We're excited to see what you do next. Like I said, we love your sound. We're excited to
Thanks.
see you play live. It'll be great to have life come back and to be able to see you.
Yeah.
Um, Bowie, do you have any questions at this time?
Oh
Yeah,
man.
where can our listeners find you on social media?
Oh yeah, great. Instagram, it's just Garon Brett. So GaronBrett, is my handle there. Facebook, same thing. Garon Brett. Um, I I am trying to build up like honestly just a more, I guess, personal connection and community with people and people that dig the music. So, and that's through email. I That may seem archaic, but I still feel it's such a good way to maintain contact. So you can just go to my website, which is garonbrett.com, and sign up for the email list and connect that way and become kind of part of the family. So those are three ways. Also, just really anywhere you listen to music, you can jump on and follow Garon Brett on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen. And there's going to be a lot more songs coming this year, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, join the journey. Join the journey.
That's
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Patreon as well. I haven't launched it yet, but I'm about to. So
Nice.
and that's just for the people that really want to dig in. I'm not. I don't know. Sometimes those things feel funny to me, but it's kind of, some people ask like, how can I support? And I really want to. I'm like, well, maybe we should do this. So that's another place.
Yeah.
Awesome.